back to another episode of the Barber Block Podcast. I am your host, Lamar, and we have another very exciting guest for you for this episode, and he goes by Above the Fade.
That's right.
How you doing?
I'm doing real great. How you doing?
All right, welcome to the podcast. Thank you for joining us today. It's a pleasure to have you on the show, and looking forward to this conversation between us. And we're just going to have a conversation. We're going to roll with it and just see how where it takes us. All right.
That sounds great.
So my first question for you for this interview is, how old are you? Tell the people how old you are.
So I'm 19 years old. I just graduated barber school early this last week. So I'm excited to head into the shop and get fully immersed in the barber lifestyle.
Awesome. So fresh out of school, 1 week.
A couple days.
A couple
Friday.
days.
Yeah.
Wow. So how does that feel? How do you feel about completing this part of your journey?
It feels great because I came into barber school straight out of high school, and I knew I wanted to do something, and I just wanted to learn barbering for just the trade. So when I do have kids, when I have a family, I have that tool in my tool belt to where I don't need to depend on someone else when I could do it myself or for my family. But it really developed over the second year to where I just wanted to get my all into barbering, and that's when I went to the different barbershops, talking to the owners. So it feels really great because although I was surrounded around barbers, I still wasn't a barber myself. So to finish barber school, it's just everything's coming to plan. It's coming to fruition to where now I have a seat at the table instead of me just admiring everybody.
So what actually got you inspired to get into the industry? Why did you want to become a barber? You talked about you wanted to add a trade to your tool belt, but what else was it why barbering? Why not mechanic or anything else? Why did you pick barbering?
Dang. That's something that I never really dig deep into. I know in high school, I was like 15, 16. I was watching 360 Jeezy, Chris Bosio, and I just wanted to cut hair. I wanted to learn how to cut hair.
Yeah.
I had a couple friends where I would get the Walmart clippers out, and it would be a disaster, but it was something that I had started it, and I didn't pick it back up until after high school. But I would say I just admire you being able to provide a service for someone, to help someone be confident in themselves. And it's cool because you could just pick it up and take it wherever you go, and it connects you to someone else to where it's more than just a conversation. You're getting to see a different side of them that they haven't opened up to anybody else besides their barber. So
do you come from a family of barbers, or anyone else in your family are in the industry, or no? So this is something completely new, a new legacy for your family?
Yes.
Yes, awesome. So you have any children?
No. Not yet.
But you are dating. You have a girlfriend.
Yes,
awesome.
She's my girlfriend. I call her my wife.
Your wife. Okay, we got a wife on deck. All right, all right. And how long have you all been dating?
We've been together for 4 years.
4 years. Wow. And you're 19. So that's since you were 15.
Okay, that's what we're gonna cut out right there. That's what we're gonna cut out right there. 3 years. You got me on the spot, dog. You got me on the spot. I'm all doing the math in my head.
Okay, so 3 years. All right, so how long have you all been together?
So we've been together for 3 years now.
3 years now. Awesome. Wow, 3 years. So that means you were 16 when you started dating. And what's that been like? What's the dating life been like for Above the Fade?
It's been a journey because not only have we been together since my sophomore year and her junior year, it's been a journey because I found myself in our relationship. We were growing together. It's not that I had everything figured out and she had everything figured out. It's more that you become friends with someone, they become your best friend, and then it becomes your person to where it doesn't matter what we go through it together. No matter if I'm trying to find something in myself that I can't find and you can help me find it, or vice versa. That's just something that we got to do it together.
Wow, that's powerful right there, what you just said. Having that partnership and leaning on each other to bring out the best of one another. That's a good foundation for a relationship, so that your head is on right. So I can definitely appreciate that. So let's get back to the barbering, and so tell everybody what you say you finished about a week ago, Friday. What was that process like? Where did you go to school? How long did it take you to get through school, and then where are you at now as far as taking the exam and and where do you plan to go?
Okay.
Yeah.
So starting with school, I went to school at EVIT. I started August 2021. I just now finished in March 2023. And the process was 1,200 hours. I had got lucky because it used to be 1,500 hours just a couple months prior to when I started school. So the process was the beginning of my year, I would go for my class and then I would stay a little back after. And then for this year, I just finished off my hours early because I was getting 6.5 hours instead of 4 hours like my peers. So that's how I was able to speed up the trajectory of my graduation. So what it's looking like now is this week I'm going to study off. Next week I'm going to put in for my AZ Barber board test.
Yeah.
And then from there, finish it. And then that's when it's time to head into a shop.
Awesome. So while going through that process of being in school, did you work, or what was your situation? What happened?
So first year of barber school, I was a courtesy clerk at Safeway.
Okay.
So what my responsibilities had to do is that help people with the groceries to the car, push in the carts, sweep the floor, mop the floor, take out the trash can. So just the duties of keeping the place looking clean, but also taking care of the customers as they came in and out as well.
Awesome. And from that experience, what would you say are some of the values or tools or things that you learn that are going to carry over into your barbering career?
Some of the tools that I learned was sometimes you're going to have to do more work than your peers. Sometimes you're going to have to do the job that nobody likes just because you are the new person, but that doesn't mean you have to still feel like that. There's a point in time where you grow out of that character and you become someone else. People that you grow up around or that you work around, they're always going to see you as that courtesy clerk, as that kid. But once you figured out that you're worth more than that, that's when you start to grow out of your position, not only physically but mentally. So what I learned is that sometimes I'm going to have to grow out of that position, even though everybody still wants me to be there or still looks at me like if I'm there.
Oh, yeah.
I just got to get out of there, even if I feel like I'm not ready.
Right. So you got to kind of change. You have to view yourself different regardless of how other people view you from that perspective. And so is there anybody that's been really inspirational to you, whether it be someone from the job or another barber that has really, you look up to as a mentor, whether you know them in person or you just see them online? Is there someone that like, hey, I want to do like this guy did or this person, but I want to do it in my own way? Who is that person for you?
I feel like I have multiple people.
Okay.
Just because different character traits. My barber life has to be as good as my personal life, because if one's out of the balance, then it's just going to bleed into the other profession. So I'll say some big influences in my life is, number one, my wife, teaching me how to care, how to show my emotions, how to love wholeheartedly.
Wow.
In the barber industry, Big Blends really speak into the community and doing something bigger than a paycheck.
Yeah.
Jesse from Greater Good really intapped with his community to not only be the community's barber, but still take care of them, whether it's the celebrities or whether it's the people who are on the streets, is that he treats everybody the same.
Yeah.
And it allows them to look at themselves differently, and not that they're just a homeless person, that they're an actual person as well as a celebrity.
Yeah.
Yeah, you get a lot of people drooling over you or waiting in line for you, but you're just as much as a person as he is, as they are, as she is. And I feel that that's beautiful.
Yeah. So speaking of some celebrities, have you come across any celebrities in your short time yet, or have you had that opportunity yet to service a celebrity?
So I did get the opportunity to service a celebrity. It was one Nito. The guy, if you don't know how to braid hair, hit that follow button.
Yes.
Yeah, so I had the opportunity to service him. Just recently, this last weekend, I didn't get to talk to him, but I was in the same atmosphere as Ruji. He's the creative director of the Arizona Coyotes and the owner of Root. But we didn't talk, so I wouldn't really count that. But I would say I definitely got to talk to Nito, get to know him as a person for that time that he was there.
Yeah.
And it was really dope because I didn't know who he was before. My friend had told me that he had seen him online. So when that opportunity come up, I was kind of like, blindsided. I just knew who he was as a person right there and then, not what he did before.
Right.
So when I had the chance to look him up after, I was like, okay, like
he's somebody.
Yeah, he really did something.
He's a name. He's made a name for himself. So how did you feel once you knew who he was and, you know, like, okay, I did that. How did you feel?
I felt just as excited as I was in that moment, not knowing who he was, because I just got to see him for who he was in that moment. Mm-hmm. If he was the opposite of that and I knew he was a celebrity, I would still feel the same way.
Okay.
But I got to know who he was as a person before I got to know what he did, and I feel like that was more valuable knowing after the fact, because I treated him exactly how I treat everybody else.
And did he drop any nice gems for you or give you any advice about the industry, and what were those words?
Yes, he dropped a lot of advice about uploading consistently, because before then I would upload content. I wasn't really passionate about it. Mm-hmm. But after then I was like, okay, now I got this momentum. He posted me on his TikTok. He posted me on his Instagram. You know, I have the choice to either let this slide or I could take this somewhere to where I didn't even know where it could go.
Right.
So
where do you see yourself in the future? What do you think, or what are your plans? Because of course, anytime we have a plan, it may always change. You know, or how we get there may not be necessarily the road that we thought we would take. So, what are those plans that where you see yourself in the future being in the barber industry?
Where I see myself in the future in the industry is really in tune with the community, not just the influencers with the celebrities, but with the upcoming youth from barber school. Exactly how I was, that's where I want to be as well. Yeah. Either I'm teaching or either I'm giving them advice, but not just strictly sticking to barbering, not just strictly sticking to education, but helping my community as well, giving people haircuts for free, giving people who are in need a service that they might not be able to afford. Yeah. But not only just going to the schools and educating, not only going to the barber shows and being in tune with the community, but giving back to the people in need who are a part of the community, who might not be able to afford a haircut, to create events to where they're able to get one.
Yeah, so giving back to the community is important. So what have you done any work in the community thus far? And if so, what did that look like?
So I've given back free haircuts to an orphanage with Mission Barbershop.
Nice.
I have been out and I worked with, they're going to kill me for not remembering their name. It's a foundation in Tempe. I'm just going to say that.
Okay.
I've given back with the foundation in, is it called Uprise? I think it's called Uprise.
Okay.
So I worked with the foundation Uprise, a nonprofit from Tempe, and gave back free haircuts to the community for Christmas. Mm-hmm. I've given back to the community of Scottsdale, and I went to the Scottsdale Mall and asked if anybody wanted a free haircut, just like how Vic Blends does it, and I gave someone a free haircut. But I also have plans in the near future to give back with Wash the City. That's the T-shirt that I'm wearing right now. Okay. So what they do is for every T-shirt bought is a T-shirt towards the community. And every Wednesday they wash the city, which means gives clothes out to the Phoenix community, gives out food, gives out resources to allow them to grow as well.
That's awesome. That's good to hear that you're big on giving back. And I even see that on your Instagram page where you talk about, giving back to the community, regardless of what position you're in, that you can still do it, whether you're just beginning or if you're at the top of your game. You can always give back to someone who is less fortunate. There's always someone who would love to be in your place, right? Mm-hmm. And so with that in mind, of being in a position and as far as going into a barbershop, do you have a desire to own your own barbershop, or what are your plans?
My desire to own my own barbershop is possible. I wouldn't say that it's a definite thing. Mm-hmm. My desire is more to build something for the barbers and the community, whether it's a barbershop or not, something that will provide a benefit towards them, whether it's education, whether it's foundation, to really hit a different approach besides serving haircuts to more serving a message and serving inspiration to the community, to the barbers. Because a lot of the times is these barbers kind of don't know where to go after barber school. Mm-hmm. They just kind of try to hitch the opportunity that's first thrown at them. And I feel that if they were to really know their worth coming out of the barber industry, coming out into the barber industry, that their perspective would change instead of, well, I'm just trying to get to any shop that'll like me, or I'm just trying to get my fade right, or I'm just trying to pass the state board test, into, okay, you know, I might not know how to cut hair right now, but I know once I do, it'll be a gift. So what am I going to do with that gift in order to become the barber who I truly desire to be, not just a barber on Instagram who can make $100K a year.
So with that in mind, what advice would you give to those who are coming behind you that now they desire to become a barber? What would you say to them as far as giving them inspiration to get into the game?
I would say that be kind to the people who don't deserve it and be phenomenal to the people who do deserve it. With that being said, there's going to be a lot of times where a barber might not be the kindest to you. You might not feel welcome inside of a barbershop. But to take note of that, just don't brush it off your shoulder like, oh, I wasn't good enough. Yeah. Take that and be like, you know what? When I go into the next barbershop, this is what I'm looking for. Or if I have a barbershop of my own, if I go to every single barbershop and nobody wants me, okay, I learned what kind of barbershop I want to create for the people who are just like me. So I would say not only take notes from the people who you don't like, but be kind to them and accept what position they played in your journey. Yeah. But when you find someone who does really care about you, be phenomenal and really treat them with respect and also learn from them. Because once you're learning from everybody, then you start to grow as a person, because who you are now isn't going to be who you are when you are a barbershop owner. Right. But you do have all that past experience working up into that point where you're like, you know what? I've been through this. I've been through that. What kind of barbershop do I want to have? What type of barber do I want to be? Yep. That way, when I'm in the industry, I make less mistakes because I actually know who I am as a person.
So what kind of shop does Above the Fade, what are you looking for in the shop at this point?
What I'm looking for in a shop is to be in tune with the community. That's a big thing for me, just because as a barber student, I was able to do that. And I'm not saying that everybody has to give back every single day or every single month. But if I see that they want more than what they're doing, which is cutting the community, they actually want to get more involved with it. That's a shop that I really look forward to working with, because I want to be able to grow upwards, not just stay consistently in a straight line to where we're just cutting hair and that's all that there is. Yeah.
So how do you feel, or what do you think an older barber or someone who's been in the game, what do you think they can learn from you?
I think they can learn from me that I'm willing to learn from you. I feel like a lot of the times older barbers, and I'm not speaking for all, but they kind of have a lot of game to give, but a lot of these barber students don't want to listen. A lot of these barber students don't really care about what other people have to say besides the famous person on TikTok or the famous person on Instagram. So what I want an older barber, an OG barber, to learn from me is that I'm willing to learn from you just as much as you're willing to learn from me. There's some mutual respect, that I have respect for you because you have been in this game longer than me. Yeah. And I really just want to learn what you have to give to me.
Yeah. Yeah, that's excellent. And so over time, so we've been in the barber supply business since 2009. And so coming into the business, we've seen how the barber industry has changed, right? So in 2009 or so, you really saw either really older barbers, or you were seeing people who were unemployable because of felonies or things like that, regardless of their character, but they just had that record attached to them. And so, no one wanted to hire them, especially if you were a minority, right? So, and then over time, you see a change to where now barbering has become trendy, right? And so because of social media and things like that. And so how would you advise someone to, I guess, really focus on the true passion of barbering versus the glorification of it, of being a celebrity barber, or the potential of becoming a celebrity barber?
I would say go into the barbershops. I would say that when you're in barber school or even pre-barber school, you only get one perspective of how barbering is, and that's through social media. Because a lot of the times, these barbers don't want to go to barber school and go educate the youth. A lot of these times, these barbershop owners don't want to go in. And your favorite barber who's on YouTube doesn't even know that your barber school exists. So I would say go into the barbershops around your community and really get a true idea of how much this means to somebody. Yeah. Because it wasn't until I stepped out of school to where I really got to learn just a tiny bit of the culture. Yeah. Going to the expo, going to this barbershop, going to that barbershop. And then I got to realize, okay, this is someone's life and they care about it way more than everybody combined in my class. So let me learn from them because I want to be exactly like them. I just don't want to be here for the money, burn out, and then look for the next thing. Because I feel a lot of the times people think that you find your passion when it feels right. But the thing is, a lot of the times it will feel right at first, but then there'll be those hard times where it's like, I don't know if I should do this. I'm not even that good. That's where you really have to push through it. And the more you surround yourself with people and get to know their story, it's like, okay, he's a human just like me. She's a human just like me. If she could do it and she went through way worse stuff than me, then I could do it too. Because, and that's the big thing about Above the Fade, is that I'm showing you my journey from barber school, first year barber school, to wherever I go to now, because it's less intimidating to come up to me because you've seen me when my head was shaved. You've seen me when I didn't even know how to fade. So who I am now, it's like, okay, if he could do it and he came from that, maybe I could do it too.
Yeah. And speaking of shows, have you competed yet, or what? Do you see yourself competing in on some of the platforms that are out there?
So I have competed in the Arizona Barber Expo. As a barber student, I feel that it was a great experience because I was the only barber student up there. And it was really to make a point to my fellow barber students. It's like, you could really do this. You don't got to be a barber. If the fine print says that you don't got to be a barber, you don't got to be a barber. You know a little bit about what you've been doing. You're second year, you're first year. You just really got to take it up out of you and really go in. You really got to just take it up out of you and go show out and go really connect with those barbers because they're going to respect you majority of the time. They knock you down because you're not a barber.
Right. You're a student, and so they can see your hustle. So how did you feel competing on the stage? Were you nervous? Did you have anxiety, or how did that work out for you?
So usually with me, I'll get super anxious before it happens, and as soon as it happens, I'm in like a flow state. Yeah. So I was playing my favorite song when I was cutting hair. Yeah. I was playing all the motivational stuff because it got me into that state to where it's like, okay, now it's go time. Now it's time for me to work as hard as if I was a barber or a barbershop owner, because the barbers right next to me are the people who have been doing this for 10 years. Yeah. Why am I up here? I shouldn't even be up here. But you know what? I am. So let's do it. Yeah. And another big thing, I don't mean to cut you off.
No, you're good. Go ahead.
Another big thing that I really want to hone in on is it doesn't have to be a competition. Before I got up onto stage, I made sure to set the standard. And I went to go say good luck to every single one of my competitors, which are just my fellow barbers. Yeah. Because, it's a competition, but at the end of the day, I'm still going to respect you whether you beat me or not. Because we're all on this journey together. It doesn't matter if you've been doing this longer than me or if your goals are different or if you're trying to beat me. I'm going to treat you with kindness because at the end of the day, we're doing this for the same purpose.
Awesome. And how do you think that was received by the other barbers? You know, did you think it came off as cocky or anything like that, or did you get any pushback from any of the other barbers when you came up to them to just talk to them or to say, good luck?
No, they're all very open, and sometimes you could tell that it kind of broke the ice for them because although they are barbers, they're still as nervous as me. Yeah. So you could tell in their voice they're a little anxious in that. But once you know that you have people around you supporting you, it becomes less difficult to do what you want to do. So when you have people around you supporting you, it just gives you a boost to keep going instead of having someone knock you down or trash talking during the haircut. Yeah. Because it really unites everybody as barbers instead of this barber, that barber. I'm trying to defeat you. Yeah.
Yeah, and also on your Instagram, I've seen that you've... This episode is brought to you by Leonetti's Barber Supply. We've been in the barber supply business since 1968, helping barbers deliver their best haircuts. We're located at 1633 East McDowell Road, Phoenix, Arizona, 85006. We've got everything you need. We've got your clippers, we've got your trimmers, we've got your disinfectants, everything you need to help you deliver your best haircut. Now let's get back to this episode. That you've you now do your own interviews. I've seen you interview some other students, some other barbers, and how's that going? How do you think about that, and what sparked the idea for you to do that?
So what sparked the idea for me is I knew I wanted to be in the industry, but I know I just can't keep doing what everybody else is doing. And that's hard because, I see Vic Blends giving out free haircuts. Yeah, I might do it, but I know that it's not going to take me to the place where it take him because that's already been done. Mm-hmm. So it's really that outside of the box thinking to where it's like, okay, what hasn't been done yet? What's been done in different industries? And what it is, how can I serve the community? That's the biggest thing is not what could you do for me, mm-hmm. is what could I do for you? And that's what breaks down the barrier of like, okay, let me start doing these interviews. Mm. Yeah, we've seen 1,000 interviews, but how many people do you see in Phoenix or in Arizona interviewing barbershop owners?
Right.
And how many barbers do you see interviewing other barber students?
Right.
And where that idea, it came, we see barbers when they make it. We see barbers when they have everything that they want, or if they're in a high status. Mm-hmm. But how do they look like when they're a barber student? How do they look like when they're not confident in themselves? And for them to keep that and to store it away from 5 years from now or 10 years from now and be like, wow, I was actually there. And people who saw that was like, okay, like they went from that to that, that's awesome.
Yeah.
And another big thing is for the instructors to look at it and be like, okay, you know what? This student is lacking in that. Maybe I could do something to help tailor my curriculum to them. So it's not just for the barbers to showcase who they are as a barber student, but also for the teachers to take notice and be like, you know what? They're lacking in that. I can see the trend. Let me do something to fix it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome. So when you were in school, how was it in the classroom? Was it competitive? Did you all compete against each other, or were you all really there to a tight-knit group to help each other out? And how did that work? What was that atmosphere in school?
I would say it's kind of separated. It's kind of separated between who really wants to be a barber and who's just here to cut slack. So yes, for sometimes everybody was tight-knit because we are a family for that time that we're there. Mm-hmm. But sometimes it's that aunt that you don't really talk to because this or that uncle or this cousin. So it's like we're still a family, mm-hmm. but sometimes I got to do my own thing because we're not on the same page. Yeah. Like we're in the same family, but we're not on the same page. So that's what it was about. But I would say it's a really great experience because you get to see, okay, they're doing that and it's not benefiting them. Let me do something else. That's going to make me work harder because I know where I want to go. Because a lot of the times when you're in a family, sometimes your siblings don't see who you are until they see you in your environment as well as your teacher. So if your friends just think that you want to do something better, but you're still hanging around with them, it's kind of like you're on the same level. But once you really go outside of that and tell them, you know what, look, I'm taking this seriously. Let me get some space away. Yeah. So when they're really like, okay, you're really serious, let me pick up my game. Or I see you doing this, let me pick up my game too. So although we're a family and sometimes we could bring each other down, there's those people who set the standard and really bring everybody up because we all come from the same place. Yeah. So that means if you could do it, I could do it as well.
Yeah. And I wanted to go back to your family. Like, how did they react? What was the response when you said, I want to be a barber? What was the response? Did they have envisioned something else for you, or, well, how did that go down?
So my family thought I was going to be a police officer.
Oh, wow.
But my family's always been very supportive of my career choice. Mm-hmm. So when they said it, they're like, okay, let's do it. My dad actually helped me pay for a majority of my tuition, so I'm very grateful for that. Mm-hmm. And that's another thing that stems from my passion to give back to the community is that I know a lot of people aren't supportive of their kids going to barber school. I know a lot of people aren't supportive of their kids doing anything. So if I could be one of those influences in your life and I can help you out, and I'm not trying to fill the void of your dad or your mom, but I know that you weren't blessed with the same guidance I have. So I really want to give that back because I'm so grateful for the support that I do have, that my parents do support me to be a barber. So I'm just trying to support you as a fellow barber and bring you up where you might be pushed down. Yeah,
that's awesome that you had the support of the family, because a lot of people don't have that, so that's a blessing, and really fortunate because growing up, so you grew up in a 2-parent households. So for you, that's normal, right? And so for some other people, it's not normal. So they don't know that experience. I grew up in a 2-parent household. My parents have been married I'm 45, so they've been married 40 plus years at this point, right? My grandparents were married for 60 years before they passed away. So having that as a family history, and not only that, they're married, but you actually see them grow together. You see them change. You see them go through the ups and downs and things like that. So that's very awesome that they're there to support you. And that's really a foundation for you, because that's going to be, you look at that and you're like, okay, I know that this is what marriage looks like, or this is what parenting looks like. And so you have that good foundation. Not to say that being raised by a single parent household is bad or more challenging or whatever the case may be, but definitely having both parents in the home makes a difference. You have 2 influences in your life. Do you have older siblings as well, or are you?
Yes, I have one older brother.
Okay, and did he influence you at all in your barbering journey?
Not in my barbering journey, but as a kid, I did look up to my brother because he's so cool. He's my older brother, and sometimes we're a 2-year age difference. So sometimes when I wanted to hang out, he was in that phase of life to where he's like, oh, I'm in high school now. Like, you're in middle school. I don't really want to hang out with you. And it's like, that really shaped me because although my brother and me are close, we haven't seen eye to eye in a lot of things. But I've learned what I want from a brother, and I've learned what I've had from a brother to when I'm put in that situation, to when I have a son, or to even in my relationships with my friends, is that this is how I'm going to treat you because I was liking that from my brother. Or I'm going to treat you like this because that's what my brother taught me, and I really like that. And that's what I do a lot of the times is everybody's in your life for a reason, whether it's a good reason or whether it's for a bad one. But I'm going to take it and learn from it. That way I could be who I wish you were to someone else, or I could be who I liked what I seen from you to someone else. Yeah.
So what would you say was your biggest lesson at the age of 19 so far? What has been the biggest lesson that, I'm never going to forget this. This is going to affect me, or I need to, make sure that this is, whether it was good or bad, if it's a motivation, inspiration, whatever it is, what was that thing for you?
My thing for me was the world doesn't revolve around me. The world is not going to pick me up when I fall down. And I'm learning that at 19, so I can only imagine. But that's what I really wanted to ingrain is that, let me follow my dreams before I turn into an adult, because everybody sees the adults around them hating their job. They see them not liking their relationship or this and that. So a big thing was for me is that, if I really want people to care about me, I got to care about them exactly the same in return, if not better. Because my relationships are just like plants. If I don't water them, then they're going to die. And that's only on me. I'm not the I'm not the victim here, because if I treat you bad and I act like the world did me wrong, or I put an excuse for my wrongdoings, it's only me who's going to end up alone, And it was really not to take advantage of the people who love me, because those are the ones who are always going to be there. There's a lot of people who they act like they're your friends or they're here for a moment, but the real thing is the people who truly love you will take care of you, whether you're in a wheelchair, whether you got nothing to offer for them. They'll really take care of you. And that's really what I learned is that, the world might not take care of me, but I could take care of my loved ones just how much they could take care of me.
Yeah, the one thing that I definitely admire about your generation, so there's 20 plus years between us, right? 25 years difference. My children are your age, right? I have a son that's 18. He's going to turn 19 this year. And then I have another one, 17, turning 18 this year. And, as a parent, I had to make an adjustment because it's a totally different generation than from when I grew up. There was certain things that you just did, like regardless if you wanted to or you didn't. And so now what I'm finding is that with this generation, you guys are a little bit more pickier, like not necessarily pickier, but I would say you're going to do more of the things that you want to do, right, that are going to benefit you and the people around you. I see more passion, more I'm going to try different things to see what works, versus trying to just follow a strict guideline like go to school, go to college, get a job, get a retirement, and just live. This is different. You guys are the creative generation, so with social media, you guys use it different than we do, right? So I post maybe every once a month, I don't know, right? So, and just speak to that, like with your passion for the community and those things, I really hear that from you. Like, I'm going to do it my way, and I'm going to do it the way I like to do it. But I'm still, taking on constructive criticism from other people who are going to influence you. And so how do you think that's going to affect your future in the way with the creative space and doing those things that your generation does now? What do you think the future is going to look like for your generation?
I feel that the future for our generation is going to be a lot of breaking the mold. It's going to be a lot of what you just said, is being creative, finding creative ways to solve problems. The world has a lot of problems, and they're always going to have it. But if we see that something's not working, and if we see that there's something not right in our society, then we got to be creative, because we are not just going to stand here and let things happen to us. Yeah. We got to make things happen. Right. Not just for us, but for the next generation after that. Yeah. And that's what I tell my friends all the time. It's like, it doesn't matter if you're religious. It doesn't matter if you believe this or that. One thing that we do know is that there's going to be a next generation. Mm-hmm. So it's up to us to really set to set the standard for them. Yeah. Because there's a lot of people who are just like, this is going to happen, but I won't be around to see that. Mm. But it's like, I'm not going to be around to see that, but I'm going to do my best to make sure that it's okay for when you come in.
For the next generation. Mm. Yeah, that's awesome. And where do you think the barbering industry is going? What do you think it will look like in 10 years from now, 20 years from now? What do you think it'll look like?
I think the barber industry is going to take the momentum it has right now and really skyrocket. Mm-hmm. I feel that, this is my opinion, I feel that barbering has the potential, if it's done right, to be like Michael Jordan. Let me say that again. I feel that if barbering takes the momentum it has right now, it could be Michael Jordan to basketball. It could be the Michael Jordan meal for Happy Meals. It could be the Michael Jordan, what's that called when it's like a cardboard cutout? That's what it is. It could be the cardboard cutout in the schools. Because barbering holds such a big place in the world and in the community. It unites. A barber could cut a homeless person's hair the same day as he cuts one of the members of the Phoenix Suns' hair. Right. Barbers really unify the community. And I feel that barbering could be taken to schools and talked about just as much as the police officers come in. Mm-hmm. I feel that it could become so popular to where there's movies about barbering besides barbershop. Movies about barbering.
Okay, besides barbershop. Yes, gotcha. And so outside of barbering, what do you like to do for fun? What activities or hobbies do you have outside of barbering?
Outside of barbering, well, I love spending time with my family. Yeah. But personal hobbies, I enjoy painting. I enjoy designing clothing, merchandise. I designed the uniform for EVIT twice, and I also designed the uniform for the cosmetology program. Nice. I've done art for different barbershops as Elite Barbershop. I've done it for EVIT as well. Mm-hmm. So I really enjoy staying creative outside of barbering and sometimes incorporating the two.
So is there an Above the Fade merch line coming out soon?
I'm going to say definitely soon, but definitely soon. And I'm just going to say soon. Okay. Soon. It'll come soon, within time.
Fair enough. So how do you market yourself? What are ways that you're going to put yourself out there so that people know who Above the Fade is?
Ways I market myself is social media, not only on Instagram, on Twitter, on Facebook. Even though if I'm getting more follows or views on Instagram, I'm still on different social medias because we have the opportunity to spread our message for more than one platform.
Yeah.
And I feel that, hold on, let me come back from that one. That was a good one. So I would say ways I market myself on social media is just showing my day-to-day life and consistently thinking of different ideas to create content. Because as content creators, we're providing entertainment, we're providing motivation, we're providing something new or something in our own personality to the people who are watching. So I would say continue doing what I'm doing, being on Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat, but also being a part of other people's journeys, other barbers' journeys. So if they have a podcast like this one, be a part of it to not only get to talk to their audience and help them grow as well, but whether it's their clothing brand and they give back to the community, whether they need help designing. So I'm not just marketing myself from my singular platform, but I'm also marketing myself by being involved with other people.
Awesome. And which one is your favorite platform to use?
Instagram.
Okay.
I feel that it just flows for me.
Yeah. Yeah. Awesome. Well, we certainly appreciate you coming by, spending this time with us. Above the Fade. We look forward to seeing you do great things. We're going to be following you. We're going to have you back, just to check in on you and see the progress you made, where you end up, what shop you end up at, and make sure we stay in contact. And we look forward to seeing you again. And we thank you again for coming by.
Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you, sir. That wraps up episode 3. Big shout out to Above the Fade for coming through, dropping those gems for you young barbers. So make sure you tune in. Take those words seriously that he said to help you develop your career, and even some of the older guys, to see what these young people are really thinking about and respect, their generation. So we're looking forward to bringing him back, and we're looking forward to seeing you on the next podcast. Peace out.